POC Network here with another unboxing, this time coming from the company Annke, and this is their 4K webcam, specifically the WX810. Everybody's trying to get into 4K right now, and there's a lot of competition out there now. It used to be just the Brio that used to just really own the entire market, and everything that came close really just didn't come close because it was not 4K. It was usually 720p or 1080p stretched out and pixelated or oversaturated to just have a 4K resolution in terms of pixel count, but not, well, actually, we can dial that back. To have the pixel count, but not the resolution. I mean, it depends on how you, which definition of resolution you're going by. If you're going by just the pixel count, then sure, yeah. But it did not look 4K. It was terrible. Well, fast forward to modern times. This year has been a very good year, and a little bit late last year, the second half of last year has been a really good year for webcams, reaching the 4K level. They're actually 4K. They have 4K sensors, and we've been testing quite a few of them out lately, as you might know if you're following our videos. So now Annke is getting into the market as well with their 4K model, and it's right here. It's a USB 3.0 webcam. So you do need USB 3.0, which shouldn't be hard as long as you have a relatively modern system. Laptop, desktop, doesn't matter. As long as you have USB 3.0 or greater, you'll be able to use this webcam at full 4K resolution. I can't speak. But it's 4K up to 30 frames per second, so you don't quite get 60 frames per second just yet with most of these models. So you're going to be spending a little bit more if you want that, but for 30 frames per second, you're finding it within this price point of about $200 to, let's say, $100, we'll say. $100 and $129 for a good starting point for some of these models. This one specifically has a 91-degree field of view, which is not bad at all. It does capture a decent amount of information, especially if you're sitting further away from the camera. And it also has autofocus that can capture you within 0.7 seconds. So you're not waiting for that slow autofocus to happen every time you move away from the camera or towards the camera. And it allows you to sit, further away from the camera or close up to the camera, where some of these webcams, since they're webcams, they have a fixed focus. And when that happens, you have to sit within a specific range, which is kind of average from monitor to chair. Pretty much, and if you try to go further from that, you might get, a little blurry. So this one will allow you to get further away in case you want to use it as a meeting webcam for a whole table of people at work, for example, or at school, and it'll be able to focus on everybody, or if you get close to show something, it should be able to focus relatively quickly as well, because again, it should be up to, at worst, or worst case scenario, at most, 0.7 seconds. It has two microphones, and the purpose of that is noise cancellation, so you can get rid of the background noise. Any kind of ambient noise in the background that might be disturbing, like dogs barking off in the distance, traffic, wind, anything like that. And it has a multi-point swivel, so it can swivel all over the place to get the best view with, no matter how you have it mounted. And of course, like most of today's webcams, it is plug and play, so no software needed, although I believe Annke has some software that you can use to adjust some of the stuff, or you can just use software of your own since it's plug and play. So if you use OBS or anything like that, you can use its built-in controls in that OBS software or anything else to control some of the features of this, like brightness and whatnot. And that's it for features, really. This doesn't have auto zoom or anything like that, like some of the models we've covered recently in the last so many months, but it has a lot going for it, hopefully. It depends if 4K looks good. We're going to test it out in just a second. But its MSRP is $175, which is a little much for a camera that's just 4K and doesn't have any smart AI features, which is a little unfortunate, but it is currently going for $150 on Annke's website right now, and we'll put a link in the description for that. We don't know how long that sale's going to last, but hopefully it sticks around at $150, maybe even less, to really compete with what's out there. Because there's some brands like Nexigo that are out there that kind of squeeze right in at this price point or around that price point that really give it some good competition. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, we're going to take a look at it, we're going to see what it comes with and what it looks like, and then we'll do a little demonstration and see what it looks like when actually using the camera. So inside the box you have the webcam, which slides right out, and it's protected by a bunch of plastic, which is just going to prevent it from scratching, especially if it has any kind of shiny surfaces to it. Both the sides have little protective plastics, and there's definitely some shiny there on both sides. Everything else is kind of a matte black finish. And you have your camera and your autofocus sensors, it looks like, right here on the front, as well as the 2 microphones. The back side of it, you have a USB port here. That's a USB Type-C port for connecting the cable to it, which the other end obviously connects to your computer, or anything that takes a webcam over USB. Maybe, should. It is plug and play after all. And then you have the mount, which is quite similar to most of the webcam mounts out there, except that this one has the additional option here to swivel forward like this, where they don't always do it, but it's able to swivel this way, plus up and down, plus the whole mount itself, you know, can swivel however you need to hook it to the screen of your laptop or your monitor or any other location that you'd want to really mount this. And then, like most of these nicer webcams, you have the tripod mount at the bottom. You have some threads here, so if you want to put it on a tripod, if you have one laying around somewhere, so you can do that as well. Now, the weight of this camera is pretty good. It does feel like it's made of some quality manufacturing, or using some quality manufacturing processes. These are some good parts here. It feels, I'd say, aluminum. I kind of feel like the actual main body of the camera here is aluminum. Obviously, the stand is plastic, but this does feel aluminum, and it is cold to the touch. So this is nice. So it's nice to see, especially if you're going to be spending $150. I mean, it better be more than just plastic. So we're doing pretty good so far. We'll go further into the box. You have the instructions, which is the Annke webcam WX810 complete setup guide, which just walks you through setting it up. So you can use it with just about any program out there that takes webcams as a video source. Again, OBS is one of your best options to go with. OBS is free. So you can't really go wrong with free, except that you can. I mean, OBS isn't the best software out there. It does have some flaws, but for free, it's doing pretty good, and it is by far one of our favorite options out there, especially for those that don't have, you know, a fancy budget to work off of. And then for the next step up from there, you can start using some video switching options from companies like Blackmagic, or something like the YoloBox Pro, which we just recently covered, and we'll put a link in the description for that as well, so that you'll have that to check out, which is a very, very interesting hardware-based switching platform where it's touchscreen and you can switch between multiple cameras, including almost any plug-and-play webcam as well, since it has USB Type-C and Type-A port on there that you can go off of. But the cable that this comes with is a USB Type-A on the other sides. You got the Type-C for the one the side that connects to the back of the camera, and then Type-A that connects to your computer. But since it's a webcam, this is all you get. You get the webcam, you get the camera, you get some instructions. That's it. There's no lenses or anything else to play with. It's just your basic webcam. And what we're going to do now is take a look at what it looks like. To start off, I grabbed one of the Dell laptops and started us off with looking at what the built-in webcam looks like. So what you're looking at is a 720p webcam. Laptop manufacturers aren't really well known for having really, really good webcams. And right now you're looking at it at 720p within a 4K video, so it's kind of small. So we're going to stretch it out really quick. And now you're looking at the 720p video stretched out to a 4K resolution to see what that would look like. And it might remind you about some of the earlier 4K webcams that have come from some of the companies you may not be so used to. And this is what we were used to seeing, and we stopped really accepting a lot of 4K cameras that were coming to us by many different companies because they weren't true 4K sensors. This is what it looked like. So we just kind of shot them down and said, you know what, we're not going to do any more coverage on any 4K camera unless it actually truly is 4K. It has to have a 4K sensor. So let's take a look at Anke's 4K webcam to see how it compares to this. So now you're seeing what the Annke 4K webcam looks like. This is coming from the 4K. We're shooting at 4K, 30 frames per second. And this is what it looks like. So you can see the color is definitely a little bit off. It's a little bit bright. It does need some adjustment. So you're going to want something, like I said, something like OBS or anything else that you can tweak some of these settings with. You don't want to just use a basic webcam app like Microsoft's built-in camera app, which is okay. It does give you some options to play with, and you can really get by using that. In fact, we're using that right here to really give you an example of what a average user experience is going to look like. And right now, we're at 4K. We are at autofocus, so it is focusing on me, and it is capturing it relatively quickly. So the 0.7 seconds is definitely accurate. And we can take up the brightness, or take the brightness down, take it up. You do have some of the basic functionality in the app here, but you're going to want to use something real, something like OBS that's really going to dial it down into the smaller details in your settings to really get the best image width. So again, keep in mind you're not paying top dollar for a 4K camera, although this again is getting dangerously close in price to some of the other options that are out there, like from Nexigo and even Brio when you look at it, since you can find the Brio for $199. So I mean, times have changed a lot. But this is what you get with this model. And honestly, I think it might do better with a lower price tag. But we're going to definitely spend some time with this and see what we like about it and don't like about it. We'll definitely share that in the story once we publish it at POCnetwork.net. And then, of course, we'll have links in the description where you can find this camera, as well as the YoloBox that we mentioned earlier, as well as anything else that we might have mentioned, and as well as a link to the review once it's finished. We also have, I forgot to mention, we do all have some small little noises around the office, or excuse me, the office. We're in the studio here, but the studio here specifically, that's coming from my left side over here. And you should not be able to hear that if the noise canceling is actually working. It's just a very small ticking noise coming from a metronome, a very small metronome in the corner over there, as well as somebody shuffling their paper there, sort of. I don't know if that was by accident or not, but we have that as well. So hopefully you didn't hear that, and also you'll get to hear what I sound like here versus just using the general webcam that's built into the laptop that has no noise cancellation whatsoever. So what do you think about it? Use the comments down below and let us know what you think about what you see and what you hear here, and how it compares to anything you've seen, or if this is something that you definitely see yourself buying. Use the comments down below. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, definitely like and subscribe and follow us. We have lots of videos out there and many more to come. So like, subscribe, comment, and as always, we thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. If you want to stay on top of all the latest and greatest, and or at least the gadgets we cover, remember to subscribe right here. Subscription button. Click it. You're going to want to. There's lots of videos, interviews, previews, all sorts of stuff. Button. Click it.